ant story. You may have heard it done a couple of times in a different ways, and I'm going to share my different way. Okay, and with the ant story, we're going to talk about what you can do in terms of extending learning with the ants. So children, are you listening? I'm going to tell the two stories straight, and then I'm going to save the educational stuff at the end that your mom or your dad or who's ever caring for you can listen to later and incorporate that in your learning day. I'm so glad you're here. Okay, so have you ever looked at an ant and you wondered how they could grab crumbs and take them, maybe at a picnic or something, and they just start moving, and it's a little bitty ant, how one ant, and then all of a sudden you get swarms of ants, okay? And these guys are very diligent, very hard workers. In fact, in the Bible it says, have you considered the ant? Something to look at in terms of when you're looking at perseverance. So this story is about an ant, and he had come upon a crumb with a dab of strawberry jelly on it. He had thought to himself, oh, this would be good to share this with all my aunts, sisters, and brothers in a colony. Now, colony is where most of the ants live. There are some ants who don't live, but most of the 12,000 species of ants live in colonies, at least most part of their life. Okay, well, anyway, he looks at this dab of jelly, and he starts to on this crumb, and he's like, this is gonna be so good, and he goes to push the crumb. Now he's a young ant, and he starts push the crumb, and he just and he fell over the crumb because the crumb didn't budge. And he walked around the crumb, and he thought for a second, oh, this is difficult, but it's so hard for me to get home and come all the way back to get the crumb. So what he decided to do is, I'm going to try again. I'm going to try again. He pushes it. Then he gets on the other side. He says, maybe I could pull it. And he starts to pull the crumb. He starts, and he falls back. I can't do it. I can't. And so he sees two beetles, two sister twin beetles walking along. And they say to him, well, you're kind of skinny and puny. You're not round like us. You need to exercise. And they say, this is the exercise you should do, okay? And they started their music. I think their names were Salt and Pepper. They said, push it. Push it real good. Exercise like this. Put your arms like this. And so the ant was pushing it, yeah. And then pull it. Now push it, now pull it, now push it. And you work your arms. You see I'm getting a little muscle here? You guys can work your arms with me. Push it, pull it, work your arms, push it, pull it, push it. Push it real good. Ooh, ant. Ooh, ant. All you got to do is push it. Push it real good. And he did all that exercising, pushing and pulling, and he was working up muscles like you did, like you guys. It didn't look like this here. Okay, but it looked more like this, okay? Well, then he tried one more time to push. And he pushed it, and it still didn't budge. Got on the side, the lady said, okay, then pull it. And he pulled it, and he didn't budge. He says, well, can you help me? We ain't got time for that. And they left him. And he was there with this crumb, and he was just thinking about, oh, this would be so nice for all the ants in the colony, and they'll be so proud of me. And look what I did. I'm a scout ant, and I found a crumb for them. Well, you know what happened? Then he sees a spider. The itsy bitsy spider. She crawls over to him, and she says, what you doing? He says, well, I'm trying to get this crumb home to my family and to my colony, and it's hard because I'm pushing and I'm pulling. I just can't get it. And she says, you know what you need to do? Just chill. Just relax. Meditate. You know, rummy chummy chummy. Rummy chummy chummy. Rummy chummy. Yummy yummy yummy. What? Yeah. Just say that. Close your eyes and say, rummy chummy yummy, rummy chummy yummy, rummy chummy yummy chummy, rummy chummy yummy, rummy chummy yummy, rummy chummy yummy. And before you know, his eyes are closed, and while his eyes was closed, that spider started to spin a web around him and the crumb. And soon as she almost had enough to catch him, he went, "What are you doing? That's my crumb. Leave me alone. Get away, get away, get away." And the ant she scurried away. And he tried. One, two more times. This is his first time, the second time. Now he's trying. He tried with the beetles before the beetles came. And then after the beetles came, he tried again. That's his second time. He was trying when the spider came along. So now he's trying again. Ooh, like at least he's trying. He's not giving up. So he pushes it. Ooh, and he pulls it. Oh, and he push and pull with me. Push, pull, push, pull, push, pull. And he falls over the crumb, but the crumb, it budges just a little bit. What are you doing? The busy bee stops being so busy, and he looks down at this ant, and he's laughing. What are you doing? You know you're trying too hard with the wrong things. I watched you. You tried, you exercised before you did it. You tried to meditate before you did it. But you know what you need to do? Is know who you really are. Then you can do it. So what you mean? What do you mean? I know who I am. I'm from the ant colony, and I'm so. He said, you don't know who you really are. Do you know who you are? You're an ant, and you can move 10 times your weight. What? Where'd you learn that? I read it in a book, he said. You can get a lot of information from reading books, especially good books that help you learn about you and the life around you. And I read about ants, and it tells me that an ant can move 10 to 50 times its weight. Are you an ant? Yes, I'm an ant. I'm an ant. Come on, I'm an ant. He says, well, look at that crumb with the dab of jelly. I'd say that may be about maybe 30 times your weight. I think you can do it. See, the problem is you don't know who you are. And when you know who you are, you can when you think you can. So you can practice and you can meditate and you can do all these things, but unless you know who you are inside, you can't use all of those things to do what you want to do, because you have to know who you really are. And he said, I'm an ant. I can do this. I can do all things. I can do this. And he said, I'm an ant. I can do it. I'm an ant. He went and pushed it and pushed it and pushed it. I can do it. And he pulled it and pulled it and pulled it. I'm an ant. I can move 50 times my weight. And he pushed it and he pulled it. I know who I am, and I know what I can do, because I know who I am. I can do what I can do. And he pushed it and pulled it. Pushed and pulled, pushed and pulled, push and pull with me, okay? Push, pull. And he pushed it and pulled it all the way up the hill. And they were so excited. And they were so appreciative, all the ants in the colony. And you know, they said, next time, we don't want you to push this by yourself. Whenever you see a crumb, you come back and tell us, and we'll come out with you. And that's why, when you're at a picnic and you see one ant, and if you turn your back, there will be several ants coming together, because they work as a team and they're very, very diligent. And they know who they are, they know their task and what they're supposed to do. Do you? Okay, so the next story I'm going to tell is, it's about a cockroach. Now, some people call them roaches, but it's an insect too. It's not like an ant, like a mosquito. We don't really like cockroaches. But back in the day, when all the insects lived in houses, they loved cockroach. Cockroach was so charming. Cockroach would come over to her house. It was always about 5 or 6 in the evening. And because he would sleep most of the day. If you do research and look at the information about cockroaches, they sleep 75% of the time. So he was sleeping most of the time, and he'd get up and he said, I'm going to go visit friends. And it was always about the 5 or 6 o'clock hour. Okay, and so he'd show up. Wow, it was just when they were having dinner. And Cockroach would, come on in, Cockroach, good to see you, old pal. And he'd come in and tell him jokes and have him joking. And he said, come on, have some dinner. And he would sit there and eat and eat and eat and eat. And he would eat and eat and eat. And he wouldn't go home until everybody got tired of laughing at his jokes and fell asleep. And they wake up in the morning, he'd eaten them out of house and home. So, the coyote, so he had eaten them out of house and home, so they had no home, okay? So then the next day he gets up and he goes. Now, not only did the insects live in houses, but the animals lived in houses, and they really all got along, you know? This was before they started to disagree and fight over resources and food, but at one time they really all got along. So the first house was a coyote, okay? And a coyote used to live in houses, but now he can't, because so he's not like a dog you can bring home, because he's always thinking there's going to be a cockroach there. So he ran away after being eaten out of house and home. And then he went to Wildcat's house, okay? Now, Wildcat they called him Wildcat, but he was just they were nice cats. And so the next day, Cockroach shows up at Wildcat's house. And you know what time it was, yeah? It was dinner time. How convenient. And he shows up at the house, and he's charming. He's got on his zoot suit, and they're, oh, that's a nice suit you have on, Cockroach. Yeah, it is a nice suit. I'm looking pretty good. Good to see you, old pal. I just moseyed over to see you, talk to you a little bit. How you doing? He said, well, you know, we're just about to have dinner. Oh, really? You were just, I'll go. He said, no, I'll go. No, you can come in, have dinner with us. Have dinner with us. And the wife said, that's Cockroach. You let him in? He's a nice guy, you know, but he will eat us out of house and home. And you know, that's just what he did. He would talk and laugh, and there was a big plate of shrimp there. And he would talk and laugh, and before you know it, he's eating one shrimp after another. He'd eaten all the shrimp. He had eaten all the salads. He had talked and talked. And you ever invite people over and they don't leave, even when the food's gone, they're still there, and he's just talking and talking, because heck, he'd been sleeping most of the day, and they'd worked and done everything, and now he talks so much they fall asleep, but when they wake up, he had eaten them out of house and home. They had no food. So the Wildcat, who used to live in a house, well, now, you know, his part of the family, the other cats will live in a house, but never Wildcat. Wildcat can't live in a house, because he thinks Cockroach is going to come back and eat all his food, and he won't have food for his babies. Yeah. Okay, so the next house, the very next day, he goes to the owl's house to eat food. He'd slept all day. He figured Owl was up, would be up, and they're cooking and everything. He comes over to Mr. Owl's house, and Mr. Owl said, oh, hello, Cockroach. How are you doing? He said, well, I just happened to stop by and see how you're doing, Mr. Owl. Well, Mr. Cockroach, I'm doing just fine. Would you like to come in and have some tea? And so he brought him in and had some tea. And his wife came over. Would you like some crumpets or tea cakes? That's little biscuits and little sweet cookies. He gave him some sweet cookies and stuff. And then he says, well, then she said, well, we're about to have dinner. Would you like some of the roast? And Cockroach said, well, no, we insist you stay, you know, because they were really good animals and insects, and they were always sharing. A Cockroach, he was always taking advantage of people. So the next thing you know, he had eaten them out of house and home, and to this day, an owl stays up all night, because he said, who is that Cockroach? Who? He's afraid Cockroach is going to come back and eat all his food. Well, Rooster started to thinking. He said, I know Cockroach is going to come visit me, but I'm going to pay a visit to him. And I'm going to say, why don't we plant this field, and we have potatoes and tomatoes, and we'll have enough food for him all the time, for everybody. We'll never run out of food. All he has to do is participate and help us with the farm. And he'd talk to all the other insects and all the animals and say, yeah, then we can live together in unity and we don't have to worry about what we're gonna eat, and we don't have to fight. And so that's what they did. They went and got a farm, and they took some turns on the farm, and Cockroach, and they said, you've got to help us too. And Cockroach said, oh, I don't mind if I do. Yeah, like I'm a good neighbor too. And he said, and Rooster said, okay, I'll be over to pick you up 5 o'clock in the morning, and we'll just go out and we'll work the field. 5 o'clock in the morning? Yeah, 5 o'clock in the morning. We want to get up before the sun comes up, and get some work in, before it gets really hot, the heat of the day, and then we can take a break and take. Yeah, we got to go to work. Cockroach was so uncomfortable. And so he said, I'll see you tomorrow, good buddy. We're going to have enough vegetables and food for everybody, and we will never fight, and we can live together in harmony. Okay, so Cockroach started thinking, what can I do? I can't sit up and work all day. And he said, oh, I know, because Cockroach, he can't, work all day. He's got to sleep and get up and eat and play. So he decided he would play sick when Rooster came to visit him. Rooster came to visit him 5 in the morning. You ready to go? No, he was there at 4:45. You ready to go? He said, ooh, What's the matter? He opens the door. What's the matter, Rooster? What's the matter, Cockroach? He said, ooh, I got a pain in my side. Ooh, 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 Really? I don't think I can go to work. Would you like me to make you some chamomile tea and maybe you feel a little better? And he made us some chamomile tea, and he sat there and waited for him. He said, ooh, I got a pain in my head. Ooh, 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 He said, oh, you got a pain in your side and a pain in your head. He said, why don't I just get a nice little a cloth and put it over your head. So he got a cloth, put some cold water on it, wrung it out and put it on his head. If we just wait a little bit, maybe you'll feel better. So, my feet are hurting so bad. I just think my feet are can't you tell they're swelling up? He said, no, I can't tell it, but if your side hurts, your head hurts, your feet hurt, you ain't too much of nothing working, so you just stay here. Good friend, I'll do all the work for you, and I'll be back, and we'll share these vegetables too. So he went off to work. You know what Cockroach did? Cockroach turned on his TV. He watched TV, he took a nap, he got up and ate, and then he went and turned in his music, and he started dancing, and the other insects and animals start hearing this music. Word up. He's in there dancing, and they look and they say, wait a minute. And they go out to the field and they tell Rooster, said, Rooster, Cockroach, he no bitch sick. He is plain sick, so you do all the work. Oh, Rooster was sweating, and he was doing the work of 2 people in the field. And he got so mad that Rooster came, and he walked through the door, and he saw Cockroach listening to music, dancing. And so when Cockroach saw Rooster, and Rooster was, he was so mad, he started pecking his head like this, and Cockroach started running and scampering away. Ooh, he came that close. But the fear got in him, and every cockroach born since then is afraid of somebody coming through the door, coming in the kitchen, coming in at night. So they hide out at night, and they're hiding because they're afraid not only of cockroach, they're afraid of people. So to this day, a cockroach hides. And when a rooster sees a lazy cockroach, he tries to peck him. That's why they keep Rooster out in the farm. Yep, that's what happened. And that's why Coyote and Wildcat can't live in a house, because they're afraid the cockroach is going to come. Sometimes people make choices because of fear. And these were choices. And sometimes when we see patterns and things that are happening, we make adjustments. It's called adapting. It's not, sometimes fear is not a bad thing if we understand that things could happen if you throw your ball in the street. There's something that could happen because they throw the ball in the street, and when the cars come, you could get hurt. So sometimes it's good to look at the environment around you and make the adjustments, adapt. You shouldn't put your hand in the dog's mouth, and you shouldn't. It's a lot of things you shouldn't do, and that's what happens when we learn about the things around us and we stay very, very alert so that we can make good choices. So this is what you can do. You can look at the facts about ants. Here's some facts. Ants can lift 10 to 50 times their body weight, and they have specific jobs. And I hear there are over 12,000 ants. And ants can be zombies too. Yeah, they can be dead and go back to their colony and leave their colony because they're dying. Long story. And you can also a cockroach can live for a certain amount of time without his head. So if you compare the two, they can both act like zombies. Okay. So look at ants and look at cockroaches and see what is unique about them. What's similar and what's unique about them. Then you can say, how am I like an ant? Do I persevere? Do I work with people? you know. And you can also learn some things we should do to avoid cockroaches. And cockroaches can spread disease and all that kind of stuff. So take the time to get maybe 10 facts, 5 to 10 facts about an ant, 5 to 10 facts about a cockroach. You can also take this story, because I really just changed a story that I heard before, and you can change each of these stories. You can change the ending, or you can change the insect, or you can change the animal and make it a different story. Then you can look at the story I said and say, what's the first thing he did? What's the second thing he did? Was it the spider in the first story that the ant came across? Was the beetle in the story? You know, something to think about, okay? This is how you can extend this, because when you learn to put things in order, it helps you recall, it helps you organize your thoughts, and also in life, if you learn to put things in order and sequence and understand that everything has a pattern, you can be very successful in many things you do. Thank you so much for tuning in. And I know I switched channels, so people didn't know what channel to come to, but I'm saving it on this channel. I hope that this somehow blessed you today in your learning and your academic endeavors. Have a great day while we are sheltering in place. Bye-bye. Oh, you know what?